welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. It's your host, Eddie Arnell, my man G with Mr. J. Lou. What's going on, gentlemen?
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up. Beautiful day in Nashville today. Beautiful day in Houston, too, if you like 2-0-3 teams coming into week 4. Both teams fighting and scrapping, trying to get a win, man. Second division game for both teams. All right, so you already in hole. Both teams have lost the division game, so no, the next one would be even further in that hole. We had a week of change, guys. We had Hardegree take over play calling. We had Brownlee traded. Shoot, even the Texans released C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So a lot of change for both football teams. Texans 26, Titans 0.
Goose egg.
And so I'm gonna tell you like this, and I'm gonna kick it over. I think J. Lou for you this week first. You really see how penalties make a difference in the football game, and I'll tell you why. First penalty of the game, holding on Snead, 3 points for Houston. Roughing the passer not even called on Cam Ward, results in the punt later on. So you just see how the game is inches. You know, they say football is a game of inches, and it is, because those things right there change the way both teams start the game. But J. Lou, right from the rip, man, a couple of things that you noticed today, and I know you always look for the positive side, so you might have a few positives. Not, I got some, but go ahead.
So I think I can scrape up a couple positives. I thought Tony Pollard ran the ball well. I thought offensive line from a run blocking scheme and all, we did well. And Tony Pollard is as bad as it has looked this entire month. He has probably been the consistent thing. We've been inconsistent with how we run the ball, if that makes sense. So that's a positive there. On defense, the positive I'd give you is Big Jeff is Big Jeff. It's like he's the meme going around of a Maserati in a terrible looking house. This is part of it. Right. The edge group, the defensive edge group they registered a sack today.
They did.
Had a little bit more pressure. That's probably the positive from that. The negative,
too numerous to name.
I mean, at this point, I know people. You have to fire Callahan simply, and I want to put this out there. We can fire Callahan in about 3 hours when the plane lands on tomorrow or Tuesday. This team still has the chance of going 0-17. It's not going to change the team. However, I think firing him along with Chad Brinker would probably help, send a message. Amy's going to have to fall on the sword and admit that she was wrong. And if we want to be honest, Amy has been wrong since she pulled the trigger on J-Rob. And I know how J-Rob's tenure ended. I get that. But a lot of her, I don't think firing him today. I feel like she won't fire him because she's tired of everybody saying that she makes an emotional thing. Right. This one wouldn't be emotional, because I can tell you this, listening to Cam Ward and look at him after the game.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all coming in, I mean, yeah, you want the Titans to be 4-0, but realistically, 1-3, 0-4 was probably where this team should be, given the team and given the schedule. My issue I have with the coaching staff, this is not the same team that we saw in Denver. They have regressed every week. And if you start looking at your quarterback, he's starting to develop some bad habits that I think are a simple result of what he's presented with. I mean, you still got receivers out there not knowing plays. I feel like we're still running wrong routes. The offensive line in front of them, it's trying, but I feel like that's the one thing that Callahan and his staff couldn't do. And that's coming to this season and regress the number 1 pick. And for that alone, I feel like you have to pull the trigger to fire him, get another coach in there to kind of stabilize the team, the unit for right now. But if you listen to the team after the game today, some of them are already in Cancun. You're going to start seeing a lot of selfish ball played, I think, here lately from some of these players, because they just checked out, and somehow his message isn't translating from the practice field to game field.
But he said they had the best practice they ever had on Thursday.
On Thursday. Zach, heard that twice.
Yeah. Go ahead, G. Witt.
All right. So I'm a little bit different. I'll take a couple of positives in the fact that Cam only got sacked twice, which I was surprised.
That's true.
And let me see, like you said, Tony Pollard ran the ball well. Again, Big Jeff was Big Jeff. I mean, the standout player on the whole defense, in all honesty. So that sack he got on CJ Stroud was just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, quickness. But that was the positive. I'm with J. Lou. We were texting back and forth. I'm like, if Callahan's still coaching this team come Tuesday, I will be shocked, because bottom line is the team no longer believes in what he's selling. They simply do not. And even like you said, Cam in his press conference afterward, you just see he's just physically let's be real about it. And it's bad when one of the media pundits that we always fun of teasing about asked the question, and Callahan's response, "I see where you're trying to go. I'm not going to go there." And he kept badgering him. He said, "I'm not going to go there because I'll end up saying something I don't need to say." So that just shows you how bad it's gotten. And really today, even with the new play call, it still felt like Callahan was calling the offense, because, I mean, you get a good run play, then you try to run a trick play, and you try and flea flickers and throwbacks and everything. And I'm like, dude, you don't even have an offensive line that can block regularly. How you think they're gonna block on these trick plays and everything? And then and really don't want to get me started on the defensive side of the ball, because that for Snead to be a veteran is supposed to be a top-notch corner, giving up a 37-yard reception on a 2nd and 33. It just doesn't. Yeah, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Should never happen. First of all, you don't let the receiver get behind you.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, he should stay in front of you. How he got behind him, I don't know. But it just really was just bad overall. So yeah, my whole thing is like changing the coaches. Yeah, it needs to be done. If nothing else, it puts everybody on notice that change is coming, and you better start working on your resume while you got the chance, while you got these last 13 games, because the change is coming and something's going to happen. I was a little surprised you said Brinker. I'm not surprised. I was just surprised you said it. I wasn't thinking that way, but definitely Callahan.
And I only say Brinker because he was in. We missed the opportunity to cut the 3-headed snake last year, and you didn't do it. You only cut Rand. So the other two parts need to go as well.
I don't disagree.
It's short, and it's only been half an off season. But I think I would trust Borgonzi from the Chiefs organization a little bit more than anybody else, and let's just let him run it.
Well, so far, his draft class isn't that bad.
Right.
Well, he got some diamonds. Yeah. And I was gonna say to Eddie Gray, to your point, G, with how Colin Nico got behind Sneakers, he didn't touch it. He didn't put his hands on it at all. And so that was confusing to me. Here's some things that I picked up on, and then we'll dive deeper into it. I did think the offense had just a little bit better rhythm at first, but again, it goes back to the routes. You got Cam holding the ball, even when he had time to throw the ball. You heard the commentator said a lot. Even when he had time to throw the ball, there was nobody to throw to.
Nope.
For the most part. And so you got to really question the concept of this scheme. I actually thought defense played well, except for the 2nd and 33. And why was Hooker on a slot receiver man-to-man coverage? That, to me, is crazy. So you take away those two plays, the Texans don't score 20 points to the fourth quarter.
That's true.
So the defense they play this. To me, this was probably the best game outside of Denver that they've played so far. The tackling was well. You mentioned that Cedric Gray, he had a monstrous game.
18 tackles, I believe.
18 tackles.
Yeah.
I thought, like you said, we had some pressure from the edge guys. Big Jeff just does what Big Jeff does. Oh, yeah. We expect that out of him. But those things right there. So 10 losses in a row for this organization. It's got to be some kind of change. The time possession. I don't know if y'all looked at that. 38 minutes for the Texans, 21.39 for the Titans. That is just absolutely crazy for a team to dominate that match. Right now, this team is averaging 12.3 points a game. That is horrible for a guy that was supposed to be an offensive whisperer, right? For this game, the Texans had 65 plays. The Titans only had 46. And like you said, G, with 17 sacks. Now, only 2 sacks, like you said, only 4 penalties for this game. Some improvement there, but again, it still results in a 0. So, still results in a big fat 0. Let me get some shout outs, man, to folks on here. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Dewey, Chatham, and Howe, thank you for coming back in. Eddie Gray, Nathan, Dion, Mikey, Will, Ken Lou, see you in the building, man. Appreciate y'all coming on. Get your comments, get your questions in, fellas. It's crazy that here we are talking about this team in week 4. And it's already time to change the coaching staff. Thought they was going to be better, but let's go a little further in the offensive side of the ball, G Witt, because the offense, again, my perspective, and I want to hear what you guys got to say, of course. I thought the line actually played decent.
Yep.
For considering the type of edge rushers we were playing against.
Yep.
I thought they actually played pretty well. But G Witt, go ahead. Let's look at the offense, man, and see if you picked up on anything else or anything. Well, it could be tons of negative, but let's see what you got.
No, I agree with you. I thought overall the offensive line showed improvement. I thought the blocking was well. There, and again, like you said, there were times where Cam had time to throw the ball, but there was no one open. So I saw that, and at least in the second half, you saw him finally put the ball down, look to run to try to get out of trouble and everything. So overall, I thought the offensive line played pretty good. Again, the run blocking I thought was good. Tony Pollard ran the ball well. I just, again, Callahan said we just couldn't get in a rhythm. You can get in a rhythm if you quit calling crazy plays. I'm sorry. You have Tony Pollard run for what, like 20 yards on one play, and then you come out with a trick play? Mm-hmm. Just play football, man. Mm-hmm. And, I would say this. You saw Calvin Ridley make his catches, and he still has alligator arms. I don't get that from a guy who's supposed to be a number 1 receiver, because they were talking about he caught the ball with his hands. Yeah, but his hands were still like this. So I just can't figure it out. Again, seeing them use DK a lot more. But again, Cam, this was, to me, I would say this was probably Cam's worst game as far as throwing the ball was concerned. He was off on quite a few passes, I thought, and even though a couple of them got tipped. The interception, I know people look at it, it really was him because he threw it behind him. Ehrlich, and that just ended up being a tip ball and everything. So, but overall, it's a crying shame that your defense holds the Texans. They try a 50-yard field goal, miss it. Mm-hmm. So you got the ball on your 45, 46-yard line, and you can't move the ball. That says a lot to me. And we've been harping on it since the beginning of the season, and they still won't do it, and I still don't understand it. If your offensive line is not that good and you got a rookie quarterback and you're trying to get them, why won't you go hurry up? You even saw in the 2-minute, period at the end of the first half, you went hurry up and he actually moved the ball fairly decently. So I just can't figure out why, they won't go up tempo. They won't go hurry up. They won't go quick time. They won't do any of that at all during the game, and I just really just don't. Even the announcers were saying that, So I just can't figure it out. I mean, Ross Tucker was calling it out. He's like he ran the offense good as an up tempo. Why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
I don't know. That's another coaching malpractice. I can't figure out what they're doing.
Right. And Nathan says it all, man. We've been saying it. G was been saying it for a long time too. The downfall still goes back to Jack Conklin. Right. Yeah. Go ahead, J. Lou.
So, I have the answer for you, G. Witt. The reason why they don't run on tempo is because when you coach to not lose the game, you lose. Exactly what's going on. We're coach, and somebody put it in the comments. It skipped me about Callie's even broken the field goal unit. Yes, he has. With them 60-yard decisions last week, and you saw him miss 2 40-yarders this week. We are The worst thing that happened to this Titans offense was that we got a field goal kicker who could kick deep. And to me, that allowed Callahan to shrink the playbook. You talk about the 2-minute offense. He moved the ball well, but then you didn't even get aggressive in the 2-minute offense. That's the entire problem I have with and that's why I want to know, Bo called the game. How much did he call? You heard Callahan say they were going to have nothing was going to change except Bo was calling. Callahan's still on the headset. I'm frustrated because I have yet to see, and I think Dewey Cheatham and Howard pointed it out, the missed field goal. That is prime opportunity for play action, throw it deep.
Shot. Yes.
We have not taken a shot yet. Now, part of that can be, I think that you have made a gunslinging quarterback a little gung shy in the first few weeks. Which again, I think you don't want Cam to turn into Mariota. And that was the problem that he had with Wiz when Wiz got him beat up. Cam's knowing how to take sacks. He's getting hit the right way, as crazy as that sounds. I don't think he took one bad shot today that should have been a penalty.
Yes.
But outside of that, he's not taking some devastating sacks, but he's getting happy feet because he's feeling the pressure. And you're not doing anything to combat that. We ran one screenplay that's successful. Well, two should have been successful. That was a terrible holding.
Blocking the
back call. But I don't think that we did enough of that. There's no flow to the offense. I literally, and I'm going to continue to say this because I'm not the coach, but I'm just going to assume it. I think they have a set of plays on these Waffle House play sheets they got, and they're going to run them regardless, and there's no flow to them. You're the not taking a shot after a turnover is coaching malpractice.
It is.
The flea flicker, was it the flea flicker after the 20-yard run?
That was no. That was the throwback.
The throwback.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
That was coaching malpractice.
Absolutely.
What are you doing? If a play works, and we're like, okay, yeah, now we can go to the surprise plays and do this. And there's no identity, there's no flow to this offense. Teams line up. This offense is as vanilla as it gets. The routes that you saw again today. Now, granted, I'm not gonna let Cam off the hook because he is holding the ball too long. But the route concept, and then I'm just going to read two stats. Chig Okonkwo, 1 catch, 3 targets, and 2 of those was really throwaways. Gunnar Helm, 1 catch, 1 target.
Yep.
You're not utilizing the tight ends. Like they don't exist in this offense. And if you think back, Cincinnati really don't use the tight ends in their offense, and they get by with their offense because they got an alpha. They got an alpha and an alpha A and B because Higgins ain't bad. Brian Callahan has tried to mimic Cincinnati without the same ingredients Cincinnati has, and what you're seeing is that he cannot change it and alter it. I don't understand that for the life of me. I don't understand 3rd and 12 and you run a draw with Julius Chestnut.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's too much surrendering in here. So it's the offense, and it was his game 4, right? Yeah.
Yep.
3 out of 4 games this year, the offense has averaged less than 4 yards per play.
Crazy.
That's not even high school football.
It's not.
I mean, it's the offensive unit is causing all the issues on this team, and it starts with the guy you brought in here, who all the excuses have run out because at this point, again, the Levis has some bonehead things that you got in his head, but how much of that was Levis as opposed to how much of it is Callahan? I mean, I'm being honest. Yeah.
And so it's you still got some bad drops too. Chig had one, Ridley had one. Coach, like you said, alligator arms. And you're right. You can't let Cam off the hook. He has some bad balls today, but again, like you said, he is picking up some. I'm not gonna say pick up bad habits because he has some bad habits coming out of college. We knew that, right? Yes. We knew his footwork needed some work. We knew that he was a gunslinger. He would take some chances because that's what he said he does. He tries to go deep, so he'll hold the ball a little longer. But but the coach is not helping him. The offense is not helping him.
No.
And 175. like I said earlier, 12.3 points a game for an NFL team. That's 4 field goals a game.
That's
crazy.
That's really all they score.
That's great. That's right. You're exactly right. Got a touchdown last week, but it's not much else after that.
No.
And so it's just, man, it's pitiful to see, because I really think we've got some things that are good as far as talent. It's this, I know we don't have enough talent. We knew that coming to this year. But man, when your coaching is not putting you in a position where you can be successful, that's a problem. That is a big time problem. 175 yards of total offense, 93 of that's passing, 82 rush, 2 for 11 for third down. Like I mentioned, 21 minutes, over 21 and a half minutes of time possession, 2 sacks, 1 turnover. Pollard 14 for 64, Cam 10 for 26, 108, and interception, 2 carries for 22 yards. Defensive wise, G-Wit, saw a little pressure. They look, I'm gonna give them a look. Like I said, I thought they played well into that fourth quarter and those 2 bonehead plays we talked about earlier. But they were getting some hits on CJ. CJ looked like he was about to ready to buy out.
Yeah.
he was getting tagged. And we know that. We know the Texans' offensive line is not as good as well, so you got to take advantage. But go ahead, G-Wit, talk about this defense, man.
Well, I mean, you said the best thing that happened. They for 3 quarters they played tough. But eventually it got to the point to where, like I said, I know the 2nd and 33 completion for 37 yards took some wins out of their sails.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Jay Lou was going back and forth. We was talking about it because, even when they gave up yardage and everything, they kept them out of the red zone, had them kicking field goals. But, it's hard to continue doing that when your offense is not getting you any scores whatsoever.
That's right.
And again, it comes down to some other things too. I mean, I still with Denard Wilson, his play calling at certain times, his formation, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, why are you lining up? Bottom line is you're lining up your DBs again. I felt like I'm seeing Mike Vrabel all over again. You line them up 17 yards off the line of scrimmage, so all of a sudden everything becomes pitch and catch for CJ Stroud instead of trying to put pressure on him. And I don't know. This team is in a state of flux. Like I said, I think a lot of it's going to come down to they're not buying what the head coach is selling. Therefore, regardless of what gets called, nobody's playing aggressive. That was bothering me the whole game. I saw, whereas in the first game, you saw linebackers attacking. I saw linebackers waiting for the play to come to them. I thought safeties were doing the same. Like I said, how Hooker ends up on a slot receiver, I still ain't figured that one out yet. It's just amazing to me. It's just a bad game all the way around. Defense did what they could. I mean, let's be real about it. Texans are really not that great right now, I don't think. And I think our defense did a good job of holding them down. But at the same time, when your offense can't move the ball, I'm going back to that missed field goal, and you cannot even get to the 30-yard line of the Texans. That's a problem. And I agree with you totally. Why not do play action with the way you're running the ball and go deep? Why not? I mean, as Cam said at the game, we ain't got nothing to lose now. You're 0-4.
0-4.
What difference does it make? Why are you trying to be methodical and go down the field when you had an opportunity to take a shot? It's just weird. And I'll put it like this. I said the last time the Titans hired a QB guru was Ken Wisenhunt. Brian Callahan has really
surpassed that.
He's done worse because he has more talent than Ken Wisenhunt had.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%.
And so he's actually done worse. So yeah, if he's still the coach tomorrow or Tuesday, I'll be shocked. And I don't expect them to win any game before the bye.
Yeah, the way it's looking now, it doesn't look good. And I will say this too about Denard. I thought we saw a little bit different pressure looks today. We saw some things, some stunts with some linebackers involved. We hadn't seen that a lot this year. We've always been asking for the linebackers to blitz, and we got a little bit of that today. You saw Cody get in on the sack with him and Femi coming off the edge together doing a little twist stunt. And I'll say this, J. Lou, and I'll turn it over to you. Now, not only did Snead give up the 2nd and 33. But let's fast forward in the game a little bit, and the Texans run a receiver in motion, right? And Rodgers out there. Rodgers on a man. Roger bumps, right? Why didn't Snead bump off and say, "Hey, you got to communicate"? There was no, and Snead was like he was a lost puppy. Right?
Yep.
I'm like, and the guy gets a first down. That was a huge play because I think at that time we might have just been down by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
okay.
And
so, I'm not saying it would have made a difference, but you could have gave your ball back to the offense. I think it was third down right there. So, but J. Lou, just things like that, man. Breakdowns, and then for Snead to come out to the game like he got attitude because he don't want to talk about getting beat. And then they need to bring up the other plays.
Don't get beat.
Right. Go ahead, J. Lou.
Yeah. So again, I'm gonna say the same thing about the defensive coaching staff as the offense. They got sets of playbooks that when a play works, they like, okay, let's go to the other plays instead of sticking to what's running. Because to your point, the first half, they had CJ Stroud ready to tap at halftime.
He's ready to tap.
And then you come out.
He's ready.
Yeah, he was ready. And then you come out and you saw no more stunts. You saw no more. You reverted back to the I'm gonna bring Amani Hooker on a blitz, and everybody knows that when he comes to the line of scrimmage, he's blitzing. So it was an easy pick, and he's terrible when he blitz anyway. And then you put Quandre Diggs up there to do the same thing, and the running back took him directly out of the play, just killed him out of the play. So it's like we stopped doing things when they work. I thought the tackling was better. This by far finally was able to see Cedric Gray. I think the speed of the game has caught up. Preseason speed is different than regular season. I think the first 3 weeks he was still figuring that out. I felt like he looked better today. Barton, I will say, took a step back. Is not being as aggressive in attacking as we've seen. Now again, you don't know how much of that could be covering up just from a scheme standpoint, whatever the defense is scheming up. But I think they've been outscored like 3-1 in the fourth quarter or something. It's a ridiculous stat on the year. And a lot of that has to do when you look at time possession. Like you lost the time possession 2-1 in an NFL game. They had the ball almost 40 minutes. Like you're going to run out of gas as a defense at some point. Like the dam's gonna break. And we as Titans fans, we know the fourth quarter we could expect the team to go 3-4 touchdowns with no problem. And that happened. The score got ugly today. When you look at 20 points, think about this. It was still 6-0 going into the fourth quarter.
That's right.
It was 6-0 going into the fourth quarter, and the final was 26-0. So you were in the game into the fourth quarter, but again, playing not to lose. Didn't force no turnovers today, and I thought it was an opportunity to get some, especially with some of Stroud's passes. But it's like I wouldn't be opposed. I mean, I know when you get rid of the head coach, the whole staff usually goes. I'm not impressed with Denard Wilson. I think he is a aggressive talker, just like Brian Callahan. But when it comes to actually performing, they both go just this soft, passive route. Because this is two, and I think at this point we just have to say Denard is who he is. Yeah. This is 2 years in a row now. We've talked about being aggressive. I'm gonna blitz more. I'm gonna do this, and you're not seeing it. Like it's not presented. And again, you already are handicapped on the defensive side of the ball because you have no D-line. You have no edges. Now, Jahad Ward was out there today. Arden Key finally got halfway off the milk carton today. I saw Femi lined up at linebacker 3 times, and I don't know what formation that was. So it's just –
And he actually played well.
He did. He played well. I agree. He played well. But, again, if this is somebody that you need to rush the passer, he was literally lined up as a stand-up line. And I know he's done it in the past, but he was lined up in a stand-up linebacker spot. So it's you have to start feeling bad for Big Jeff because he's out there giving his all. You can't. There's nothing anybody can say about him today. He didn't have no stupid ill-timed penalty.
Nope.
He had a sack that I think everybody thought would have been a false start, but he whipped them off the ball. Had a couple of TFLs. He came to play. He had 4 tackles. See, he has nobody at either level to help. And we paid Amani Hooker at the beginning of the season, and I don't know why they ain't paid Roger yet, if you want to be honest, because Amani has not proved anything to me yet. And Roger, I think the touchdown that you see him trailing on, I don't know if that's his
Communication.
man. It's communication.
Exactly.
Which again goes to, if we had such good practices on Thursday and all these practices are good, how are you having communication breakdowns with a veteran group? There's nobody new per se back there in that group now, and you're still having these lack of communications. And that all of that falls back on coaching. I saw the Saints today hang with the Buffalo Bills, who I think are a Super Bowl contender, and the Saints are a bad team, but yet they were competitive. That's coaching, and that's what we're lacking, is that coach to be able to help us with that competitive juice.
Well, you got a coach that is trying not to lose, trying not to make a mistake, and this is what you get. That's right, and this is what you get. So Eddie Gray wants to talk about the Brownlee trade. Don't know why they traded Brownlee. There's no.
I got one small key inkling, and I'm gonna say this based off of Berganzi.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back and look at Brownlee's college tape and look at some of the stuff that things were saying about him, and even last year when you look at Random, Brownlee only became the outside corner because Snead got hurt and Cheeto started off the season hurt. Remember, Brownlee was talked about as being a slot player. I remember last offseason saying, don't be shocked if Roger is gone and Brownlee is your slot. So, and this is, I don't know anything. It's just my theory. I wonder, and that's why I'm shocked you haven't seen an extension yet for Roger, because I wonder if they was like, hey, we're settled with our slot in Roger and want to pay him and don't want to pay Brownlee, and Brownlee probably didn't want to be on the outside, because I personally think he's going to play slot whenever he gets on the field for the Jets. So that would be something to just kind of keep an eye on.
No, that's a good thought.
That's a thought. I hadn't mentioned that and everything, but I don't know. Everybody's asked me, and I'm like, look, I couldn't explain that trade if you held a gun to my head, because I just wouldn't know. You know, it's the craziest thing, and this team is so crazy right now. You can't explain nothing. But like you both said, I'm sorry.
No,
like
go
you
ahead.
both said, and I told somebody this today too. I'm like, look, we gave them a pass last season.
Yeah,
we gave them a pass because, like, first year head coach, never done it before. First year DC, never done it before. We gave a pass. They get no grace this year.
Nope.
They get no grace, because really you should be doing everything better this season, even with a rookie quarterback. You should be adjusting better. And that is not happening. And you change play callers, but like you said, J. Lou, they're calling from the same script and they're still doing it in the same order. I mean, because let's be real. How many passes did we see on first down today?
Maybe one, if that.
Yeah,
if that.
Yeah.
A lot of it was straight handoffs and everything. And then, like you said, calling those stupid trick plays, the flea flicker, the throwback. Those are just stupid play calls. I don't care what anybody say. When you got a weak offensive line, you don't call those plays.
No.
I agree with you. He had a dog in him. But think about it this way. And me and J. Lou kind of talked about this. I think it was earlier last week. Who drafted Brownlee?
Rand Carthon.
And if you look at the team, a lot of those players are gone, right? And so you kind of get the idea that they want to. So this rebuild, in my mind anyway, makes sense that, hey, we want to bring in the guys that we want to build our franchise with. And that's probably the only thing, if they can convince Miss Amy, right, to say, hey, we're trying to get the teammate over to this type of player, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, all of those guys are not even on the team anymore, hardly. See, Dewey says nobody wants Brownlee. He was a starting DB that the team needed and didn't offer anything better than the Jets did. So that's a red flag to me. That's a good point.
That is a good point. And my bad, just stay right there. I know everybody talked a lot about the compensation that was offered for him. He's a starting cornerback, and you let teams know he was available,
right? And
that's it. That everybody wanted. So I mean, and we got to remember, he's a starting corner here.
That's true.
I'm almost willing to bet when he goes to the Jets, you're going to see him. He probably will start in the slot for them.
Probably so.
But let's see how he advances. And I agree with Eddie Gray. He did have that dog in him, and you need a few of those. But if I told you that, hey, I need you to play the slot, and you really don't want to play the slot, or vice versa, then I didn't draft you. I'm gonna get you going and get you on my books.
Especially with the addition of Armour Davis, right?
Yes.
Who was the outside guy. And they
Yep.
probably told him when he came, hey, we're gonna move you inside. Like you said, he
Uh-huh.
might not have liked it, but we don't know, man. We pulling straws here,
Like I
but
said,
just
my
crazy.
only problem with the trade was the fact that they gave away a draft pick and him, and only got a draft pick in return.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
That's my only problem with
Yeah.
really with the trade. That's why I said it's a loss for us because
Right.
2 for 1. It just didn't make sense to me.
Right. The other thing was, and we'll wrap up the defense here, is that so here's the thing, and this is just my view, but this is how I think. When you have to think too much playing defense, you
Yep.
see what you see.
Yep.
You see people not reacting. You
Yep.
see people waiting on the
Mhm.
play. And so again, that's coaching. And I don't know how Denard, what's his verbiage or his language on defense. But if it's something like Callahan and all these words and things,
yeah.
then you got guys thinking too much. You
Uh-huh.
want guys just to play, and I can clearly remember those things, man, happening when I played. And it's just crazy having to think so much and not reacting. But I'm not trying to give him a pass, but that's just something I noticed. But so 353 yards for the Texans, 224 passing, 129 rushing, 6 for 15 for third down, 3 for 3 on fourth down. That's an ugly stat. 2 for 2 in the red zone. Like you said, the first red zone touchdown this year. I told you, we said it last week. Get right game for the Texans this week. Stroud was 22 or 28 too, so he had a very efficient game. Special teams. Now, the real Joey Sly has finally showed up. Now, I do agree. One of you said it, that I think they ruled him with those long kicks at home.
Yep.
They got too carried away. He's an 81% career field goal guy. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. But they've really ruined him with these long kicks. And I will tell you this, and G, which you said it during the game. I didn't watch at the same time you guys did. I had other things, but I went back and watched, and I caught some of the text messages. Marcus Harris is a gunner. Yeah, and he is a nice guy to have back there. But anything else with special teams in your view, G Witt?
Yeah, I was going to say one thing really about special team outside of Slide missing those field goals and everything was the one thing I saw today that really surprised me was the Texans getting through on those kickoff returns and holding DK down.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think he only got past it 31 times. And I thought that was just totally unusual. There was one time he was running back a kickoff, and he had 4 or 5 Texans staring at him before when he got to the 20. And I'm like, man, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been seeing them blocking well on kickoffs, in the first 3 games. And today, you just saw where DK really – there was one time I think it was the last one he ran back. He could have actually cut up the field, but he just ran straight out of bounds with it.
I think –
Go ahead.
So,
I was going to say, go ahead. I was going to say, I think a lot of that has to do with, I'll tip my hat to the Texans special teams coach, and that's watching film. Because if you go back and look at a lot of his kickoffs he took today, they were pushing him to the sideline on the return, which I think with the way the return is set up, he doesn't have a blocker back there, and we just couldn't hold the line because you're playing at that point. You're playing the width of the field, but still was averaging almost 24 kick return.
Yeah, it was 23 and a half.
But I'd agree with that. I thought punt coverage again for us was phenomenal. I think Excellent. They only averaged 5 yards of return.
Mm-hmm.
He did good with his and field goal unit. I mean, he's got to make 43 yards. It is what it is on that. They mentally and I trust. If I don't trust anybody on this team coaching wise, I trust Bones. Bones will coach him up because I think Bones know that it's more mental for him now with these longer kicks that they probably ruin them, rush it out. So I expect Sly to write that only because I trust that coach more than any other coach on the staff at this point. But I thought Hecker, man, for as much work as he did, and I no matter, I mean, punting gives us PTSD, especially on returns. But I thought they did phenomenal, and you're right. We texted in the text. Harry, that just goes to show coaching. You lost arguably the best gunner you got in Bryce Oliver the past 2 games for injury, and you had no drop-off at that unit. Right. That's nothing but coaching. He's putting the right guys in the right spot to make plays.
That's it.
That's coaching.
That's it. That's it. And so, and I think too, you say tip your hat to the Texans. Yeah, they were pressing them to the corner, if you will, on kickoffs, and that was good by them. Good scouting by them to see, where we like to return our kicks. But I also think too, fellas, when you have bad coaching in other phases of the game, it kind of bleeds over.
Oh yeah,
the attitude, the temperament. It bleeds over into the other things because now guys are getting frustrated, right? Because now they're gonna start pointing fingers. Well, if you would do this, and we don't know if that's happening, it could be. But if you guys would do this, if you would score more points, then we could probably get a better stop. Or if you can get a turnover, then and give us better field position, then maybe we can score. Things like that. And so, it's just a team in disarray. Hopefully they won't fall apart at the seams before it gets too bad. But
yeah, I thought Cam in his press conference after the game summed it up. He summed it up well, and to his, I was getting concerned about some of the things he was saying. I'm like, be careful about point, but he always pointed out himself more than anybody else. So I had no problems with what he said. Like I said, I thought he did a good job of just saying the bottom line is. He said the defense is making plays for us, but we're not doing anything on offense.
That's exactly what
I mean. That's just calling it like it is.
That's right.
And he's like, we're not scoring points, we're not moving the ball, and he said, and that's on everybody, starting with me. He said I had bad passes. He just called it out. So he shows that that today was the first day I actually saw him totally pissed off.
I think he's got it. I think he's got it up to here now. Yes. I mean, he's fed up. Right. This is a guy that came off a season where he almost won a Heisman, right? And he's been through a lot of things, and he was able to overcome a lot of challenges that he's had throughout his football career. And so now he's in a position where he can't really affect the game like he wants to.
Yeah.
Right. He's used to throwing those dimes down the field, throwing those deep balls, and it's just not happening. For a lot of reasons, right? A whole lot of reasons. And so, and I don't know why we didn't run a lot of play action. You're right. Green Bay is running a lot of play action right now. It's getting people open. I mean, when you got to give your quarterback time, man, you got to run play action, and not the play action out of the shotgun. That doesn't work for me. You got to get under center. You know why? You know what the hardest offense is to stop for a defense? It's an under center quarterback.
Yep.
I formation.
Because everything is open to them. You don't know what they're going to do.
That's exactly right. 12 personnel, somebody mentioned that, 2 tight end formations. Those things are hard because you can run and you can pass. But no, we want to make it easy when we play because we so smart, right? But looking at the AFC South, man, the Colts fall today to the Rams, 27-20. Jaguars, well, we'll talk more about them in a minute. 3-1, they beat the 49ers, 26-21. Of course, Houston goes 1-3, and we drop to 0-4. Got the Cardinals next week, 3:05 kickoff. In Arizona. Whew. I don't know, J. Lou. Got a mobile quarterback coming. And you know what? Last week, Marvin Harrison Jr. got on track. That's what I was going to say. He got on track. He's going to be licking his chops. They got a pretty decent defense. The defense is actually pretty good.
As well. So it's Kyler Murray is going to look like an MVP candidate.
Yes.
And we're going to find a way not to move the ball. It's because, again, you can get them. Arizona can be got, but especially Kyler Murray. Now, Kyler Murray, you're gonna have to honor his run because he's similar to Cam as far as wanting to stay and throw the ball, but when he takes off, he takes off. Yes. So you're gonna have to honor that, and we just know this. If I'm not mistaken, this is our first true real threat of a Russian quarterback this year. Like true because I don't care. I mean, Daniel Jones, but
Bo Nix had some mobility.
When you talk about speed, I think Kyler Murray be the first that they see like that. So
he might have an 80-yard run on him.
Yeah, that's what I'm just gonna say. So it'll be interesting to see what the next 48 hours look like over at Ascension Sports Park, because that can determine a lot of what you see Sunday. Again, a coaching change this early could ignite them. I tell you this, a coaching change puts everybody on notice because, as you talk about, you're putting your resume out on film and you just don't want to put something on film that just shows you laying down and not trying. So I have issues with us losing, yes, because nobody wants to lose. But when I look at teams like the Saints today, who was in that game earlier, and they haven't won a game. You look at the Giants, who changed the quarterback today and won a game. I mean, he's first rookie quarterback to win this year. Those teams aren't good teams. They just have a better coaching staff that's getting players to play for them. And that's what this team is lacking, the lack of somebody leading them to want to go out there and play for them. So, maybe you get that this week if you make a coaching change. If not, it's going to be ugly out there in Arizona.
Oh, boy, I know. Go ahead, G. We talk to him about Arizona, man, for this week.
Well, Jay Lou pretty much said it all. I mean, because, I watched them a little bit Thursday night, and I would say this, with the way that our offense plays, and like you said, Arizona's defense is not that bad. Our defense is going to get worn out. And we already struggle with running quarterbacks as it is. And I'm going to say Denard Wilson's defense struggles with running quarterbacks as it is. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, he never accounts for them. They always get out of rushing lanes and everything. And Kyler Murray, if he comes through the middle, he's going to juke everybody because he does have, good feet. It's going to like I texted earlier, I'm supposed to be positive because I'm getting it here in the house. Quit being so negative and everything. But I would say this in all honesty. I'm like J. Lou. If there's not a coaching change, I don't expect anything different. I really don't.
Yeah.
You got a coach who's been scared of losing since the Denver game, since he got ringed for what happened right before the halftime, and he's been coaching not to make a mistake ever since then. And you saw it even with the bowl today, same thing, coaching not to make a mistake and making more mistakes. So I don't know. I'll put it. I'm right now. I'm gonna be. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, but 305. I'm not expecting much. I will say this. I will say that.
Yeah. I don't know. Eddie Gray asked if he had learned anything from his father.
Well, his father didn't last long with the Raiders either.
So yeah, and that's the Super Bowl where they was like Tampa Bay already knows what we running. They call our plays. John Gruden and the Buccaneers, one with Dungy's team. Don't get me started on that. But anyway, Dion, I love your optimism, buddy.
That was the year we played the Raiders in the AFC Championship.
Yes, that is correct, sir.
That's correct.
2002.
And we were winning that game until 2 fumbles.
That's right. That's right. AFC Dion says the AFC South is still in my grasp. We're going to flip the script and go 13-4. Yeah, you are smoking something.
Yeah,
I don't know what's in it. But
you on
that good stuff. Yeah, the Cardinals, they played Seattle. Seattle's got one of the best defenses in the league. The one thing about Kyler Murray is you can get him to force you the ball in some cases. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr., like I said, he got on track. He was 6 for 66 and a touchdown. Caught a ball. He's a big receiver, of course, 6'4", 225. He's gonna head top you if you give him a chance. Trey McBride, he's another weapon, tight end. And we know how we struggle with tight ends sometimes for this team. And so it's gonna be every week's gonna be a huge challenge. I'm not gonna say that, but it's just a different challenge for what they bring. They still got Calais Campbell playing on the line of scrimmage, and he had a snack the other night. Yeah, Josh Sweat on the edge, and so they got some guys. That defense is nice. Dalvin Tomlinson on the inside, Baron Browning off the edge. So there is some things there with Browning and Sweat that's going to cause us some issues. Xavier Collins, he's still a young linebacker that they have, and so Buda Baker in the secondary. Tough game all the way around. On the road, late kickoff, time change. This game could get uglier than what it was today, and so we'll see, man. It's I would be surprised too. I'm like y'all, if Tuesday comes and there's no changes made on either side of the ball, I would be really shocked. It was the Texans. You know how Amy feels about them, and it was embarrassing. So
we have to say it was a goose egg, and she got to hear about it all week down there. So
right. Thank y'all, man, for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie on G with J. Lou. Man, thank y'all for coming out and supporting the show. Check us out next week. We'll be back, man, 7 p.m. after the Cardinals game on the road for the Titans. See if they can get one. And, of course, y'all know if something happened during the week, man, we're going to jump on. We're going to drop something for y'all, man, to talk about it. So be looking out for that. I got a feeling we're gonna be dropping something this week. Let's see what happens. But again, thank y'all for joining us, man. Check us out next week, 7 p.m. Don't forget the time, same channel. Eddie out there, G with J. Lou. Halftime with Justin, man. We out here. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.